In this introduction to shadow puppetry, I'm going to be showing you how to make a simple shadow box from a shoebox and how to make shadow puppets. If you would like to follow along with this video, you're going to need a shoebox, either a sheet of white decorative tissue paper or a piece of cotton. Here I have an old pillowcase. You're also going to need some tape, some barbecue skewers. You need one per shadow puppet. Preferably you're going to need a Stanley knife or a craft knife, but if you don't have one, scissors will be fine. You're going to need a cereal box or card with a similar thickness, and a lamp and a coloured pencil. First, let's get your shoebox and scissors or craft knife ready. We're going to be making the shadow box first. If your shoebox has a folding lid like mine, you just want to remove that by cutting along the crease. If it has a removable lid, then this job is nice and easy for you. You can just take it off. Next, you can use a 30cm ruler or the edge of the box lid and your coloured pencil to draw a border on the closed side of the box. Try not to make it too thick because you want plenty of space for your shadow puppets to be on display, but also not too thin because you don't want it to be too flimsy. Mine's about 1.5 centimetres thick. You then want to cut out the middle of this, either using your scissors or craft knife. Be really careful if you're using a craft knife and make sure you don't rush. Once you've done this, flip the box so that it's standing on the longer side and draw a line close to the corner where the side meets the border that you've just created. Draw another line parallel to this, that's about 0.5 centimetre from it. Cut this out to create a slit. This is where your shadow puppets will slide in. This is where the screen will go. So next up you're going to need the sheet of tissue paper or the old pillowcase or cotton. You can use the perimeter of the box as a guide. Cut the paper or fabric a little bit wider than the box, and it doesn't have to be perfectly neat. Once you have your square of fabric, you want to flip your box so that the border is down on the table and place your screen inside the box. Make sure it's nice and flat. Grab your tape. It might be easiest to start by taping the short side outside of the box and placing it back in. Make sure to give both sides a gentle tug so that it feels fairly taut. Then stick the long sides. You might need to neaten up the part where the slit is by just cutting away any excess fabric or paper. And there you have your shadow box. Next up, I'm going to show you how to make a shadow puppet. First, you're going to cut off a chunk from your cereal box, big enough for your puppet. Because the shadow box is quite small, it's probably best to measure how big the space is in the front of the box so that you know the maximum height of your puppet. If you're using a craft knife, put another piece of card underneath to protect your table whilst you're cutting out. If you're not confident with drawing, you can type anything into Google Images with the word silhouette and print something out that you like and stick it onto the card with Pritt Stick, and then you can cut around the image. Once you have your image drawn out, you can use a craft knife or scissors to cut it out. If the image is quite detailed, think about simplifying it. Or you can also use small scissors, which might make it a little easier to include details. Once you've cut out your character or object, stick a barbecue skewer on either side, it doesn't matter which. Use tape and make sure to run your nail or a ruler in the crevice between the stick and the card. This will secure it well. Make sure that the stick is at an angle that suits your character. If you stick it wonky, the character might stand wonky when you hold it in the box. You could cut out some shapes for this setting. I've done a rain cloud because I live in Manchester, and that's the current weather situation while I'm making this video. Sometimes with a craft knife, you have to go over the lines a couple of times to make sure that you don't rip details off. If you do accidentally rip a bit, you can use tape to fix it. If you have plenty of barbecue skewers, have a go at making a bunch of different characters and shapes, or come up with a story and make different characters and settings to narrate it. The final step is trying them out. Try to make the room as dark as possible and angle the lamp so that the light is directly behind the box and screen. Slide your puppets into the slot that you've created and play around with the different scenes that you might be able to create. Notice how the distance between the screen and the puppet can change the clarity of the image. There are a couple of extra tips for creating and teaching shadow puppetry in the PDF resource on page 5, so make sure to have a look.